I came to Harlem when I was about 8 years old. And I'm 84 now. I left Brooklyn, which is Harlem, left New York in 07.
So you were in Harlem for?
From about 8 until I did my 50th wedding anniversary. Let me see. I retired in 04. I retired in 04 and stayed in New York until 07 and came here. So I was 8 years old in 1945. So you have to add it up. So I stayed in New York a long time, over 50 years. But I went to get a job at school, working as a paraprofessional. And that meant that was an assistant to the teacher in the classroom. And that's what I did, took care of the children and helped with their lessons and everything. And so, oh boy, what year was that? Crystal that had to be in the 70s. And I was on welfare with the children in the 70s, and I went to, my girlfriend said to me, Shirley, you're bright enough to go back to school. And they had programs for paraprofessionals if they wanted to go to college. You know, they could go to college. And so, I was so scared because my education was so low. So I got a job working at 119th Street, Lenox Avenue. And P.S. Oh, Lord Jesus. Man, why do you... Oh, what school? I can't even think. 119th Street between 118th Street between Lenox and 5th was P.S. Oh, you have to look it up. But anyway, it was an elementary school then. So my girlfriend said to me, she said, you can take college courses in Brooklyn. If if you can kind of meet the requirements. And so they took me. I was so low. They took me. Because when you have to be at the mercy of other people, at least feeding you, that's rough. And your children. And so it takes a lot out of you. So they took me. One of the young people says, you're just as smart as we are, or smarter. So you should go. We went to Brooklyn. Now I can't even think of what college in Brooklyn. But I went there. And I sat outside of the lady that's in charge of students. And she, I guess she heard me speaking. And she came to the door and she says, you speak very well. Come in and sit down. I think I have a program for you. And so she said to me, she says, if you will do 24 credits, you will automatically get your GED. And pass 24 credits in college, you automatically get your GED. And so I did, and that's how I got my GED. And I stayed there for 2 years, taking different courses until I got to about, I think I had about 50-some credits or whatever. And then your salary as a para went by the number of credits that you had, I worked for the Board of Ed for 33 years. And I worked with special students. And
special education.
Yeah, special education students. And it was good. I started in elementary school, 3rd grade, and they sent me to junior high school to work with the 6-footers. 6-footers. Guys on top of that. And special ed for junior high school students was rough. They just, so you got to ball those boys, I tell you. They try to get away with everything, but I loved them and they loved me. I stayed in junior high school for many years. I was responsible for seeing to it that the children were proper. You know, they came in, they put up their things. And they were seated. They were in order, mostly order, because that's what most teachers want, order, so they don't have a hard time teaching. You know, so the parent was there to keep order and see to things went well, so that you wouldn't interfere with the teachers, you know, doing what little they did. By that time, I was really getting old. I was really, it was time for me to leave, because we had children from Africa, then we had Hispanic children, then the black children, and, all of that mixed in there together. Then you have a young white teacher just coming out of, college, and she's going to teach the whole world and don't know what to do with these children. So it was hard on her. So they had to have the teachers, have to have the students, have to have the mothers. Then I got children with 2 daddies and 2 mamas. I had that, to deal with, and, oh boy. And small children leave home and tell all their mama's business and everything. You have to listen to all of that. Oh, what they did, I said, don't tell your mother's business in here. This is not the place, And so it was hard, but education was rough. It was rough because many of the parents were not educated, and so they just sent the children to school and expect them to do what they really could not do. They had no support from home. When you get up and come to school and have them wash your face and haven't had breakfast, and you're not learning too much. It was difficult. You're not learning too much. And so the teachers, I guess, did the best that they could. We had some good ones, and we had some that didn't do nothing. They knew that they couldn't get away with it somewhere else, but they came. And then we had a lot of teacher absence. Then they were sending subs, and they would sit there all day and do nothing, and with special ed, you don't have. When I was in junior high school, I had special ed. It was about 8 or 9 students in the class, because you couldn't have over. It was limited. But my thing was helping the children and being there as an anchor. Because to me, I stood between the teacher and the students, because teachers are there to teach, and I can understand that, because they have a lot of work to do, whatever. But when it comes to the well-being of the children, that was my thing. If they didn't have shoes, if they didn't have clothes, proper for school. Let me back up. When I came to school in Harlem Elementary, the school was so bad. 119th Street in Manhattan and Morningside. And the school was bad. It was down. The principal was Jewish, and the Jews had priority. They held the teachers and the upper echelon, And so the kids were all over the place. The police was running, and parents was fighting, and teachers. Oh, it was terrible at school. But they sent a black principal. The Jewish principal retired that year that I came in, and we got a black principal. And he came in, and he said to me, Miss Watson, if you just stay here and work with us with the children, we're going to change this neighborhood. And the neighborhood is changed. He changed everything. Never before in a black public school did we have students in uniform. But he changed it so that all the students had to wear the same thing. Because, sneakers had come out. And if you didn't have whatever, it was a mess with that. But he changed everything. Students had to all wear uniforms. And he just made the school come up. But you could still see the difference. In our neighborhood, we didn't get what other people got. We didn't get it, but we had some pretty good teachers, you know. But he had
Most of the teachers white.
all white.
All of them,
Yeah,
even
maybe, yes, absolutely. That's where they came to work. Well, they didn't do nothing. You know, they didn't teach like they did if they was out there teaching, you know, in the white neighborhoods. They just got us by, you know, just enough to cover. And that's the way it was. Segregation. And I think the only thing that held us up was really the church, the black church. Was really a power in the neighborhood. You know, back in the 40s, we had Father Divine and we had Daddy Grace, you know, that fed the people through the Depression. I wasn't there, but some of my people were there. It was a mixture. It really was. And as a child, you don't know really what you're into. You know, you don't know the horror of it all until you're in it. But I got through it. But it was the church that was really the strong tower for me. You know, the people there. Even though you are in certain situations, certain conditions, if you have something that's you can look forward to, look to lift you up, you know. And we had that. They would encourage us to go to school. What was done to black people in this country, it has affected me, really. I really, and the more I read, the worse I get, because I still read. But it was terrible. The same thing was in the North, but it was done in a different way. You see what I mean? They kept you in your place in a different way. They was, as old people would say, nice, nasty about it. Down here, it was open, you know. So when you go to the North, it's still the same thing. They still get around it. Somehow or another, they get around it. And the Board of Ed, you know, once in a while you find a good one. But mostly the Jews ran the schools in New York. And they believed in education, you know. But sometimes the money wasn't there. You know, things were short. I mean, if you got a dime, that was a lot of money. A quarter, oh man, you think you was rich. You know. I know I'm getting it mixed up, but it's bad all over. And you know what? I would like to say that it's getting better, but we're still running into a lot of difficulties because you still see the prejudice. It's right there. And then many times when people come over here from other countries, they come here and they get educated and they think they're the elites. You know what I'm saying? And so they gather in their own neighborhoods. So you're still segregated. I mean, the Jews in Jewtown, the Italians live over here, the Spanish and the blacks, they're at the lower end of everything, so they kind of like more or less mingle more so than anybody else. But the others, Chinatown became Chinatown, Jewtown became Jewtown, you know, and they still work black people for nothing.